but I'm going to keep this one short. Now, one of the things I want to talk about real quick is the purpose of why you would want to do an isolation exercise in the first place. Now, why do you think you would want to do that? What's the point of doing an isolation exercise? Likely to isolate a certain muscle. When we talk about isolating a certain muscle, what we're really saying is maximize the demand on one muscle at the expense of the rest. But a lot of people, they forget why they're doing it, and it negatively influences the way they do it, which negatively influences the return they get on their investment of time and effort. And one of the things I always stress is the importance of remembering why you're doing something, because why you do what you do should influence the way you do what you do. And like I just said, the way you do what you do will determine most the return you get on your investment of time and effort. A lot of people assume that because they selected an isolation exercise, that only one muscle is going to do the work. Therefore, to maximize the demand on that muscle, they need to lift as much weight as they can. But what happens is, when you focus on an external cue, like lifting as much weight as you can from A to B, the brain doesn't care about isolating a muscle. It's going to do what it needs to recruit what is necessary to facilitate what you're asking your body to do. And what happens is you lessen the demand on the muscle that you were trying to isolate. So you selected an exercise for a reason. The purpose was to maximize the demand on a muscle at the expense of everything else. But because of how you did something, you lessened the demand on the muscle in which you're trying to maximize the demand. So you have to remember why you're doing something, because why you do what you do should influence the way you do what you do. As it relates to an isolation exercise, if you focus on lifting as much weight as possible, you're not fucking isolating anything. So I want to do this video real quick to remind people to remember why you're doing something, because it should influence the way you do it, and that will determine most the return you get on your investment of time and effort. If the purpose is to isolate, you need to pick an appropriate amount of weight, as heavy as possible up until a point. If it exceeds a certain threshold, you're not isolating anything. It needs to be light enough that you can increase the demand on the muscle to the best of your ability through your intention. If it's too heavy, you can't do that. So remember why you're doing something. You like the information, share it. Click the fucking button at the bottom of the screen you're looking at. Subscribe to the channel, support me, and I'm going to keep on bringing it. And if you want to see me bringing it in the gym, go over to Instagram, follow me at Impose a Demand.